Hi everyone, welcome back to Quick Rips. We got away from doing these quick informational narrative videos of storylines happening in the shop. It's been an extremely busy year. Nerf Lara is our service manager. We work together too many hours a week away from our families, but we love what we do.
Yeah.
And we're here in the shop today to talk about two very special cars that Mr. Lara and his team are preparing for our Peak to Peak event, our Plastic Fantastic parade all through Colorado. We do about 800 to 1,000 miles in plastic Porsches designed in the Peak era of competition. And so today we have some cool storylines, but Nerf, can you kind of give us a rundown just briefly, and then I'm gonna get into some nerdy stuff on this stuff, but can you kind of talk about what the team's been doing to these two 904s?
All right, so the one specifically on my lift right now, we've been doing a complete suspension overhaul. We've torn everything down so we can get all the bushings out. Kind of adjusted a couple things just for replating purposes. We had a couple discrepancies in there. So we're just trying to make it look a little bit more period correct.
Authenticity?
Authenticity.
Woo!
While we're doing service work, we still keep a good eye for authenticity stuff. The cool thing is that this car had a lot of original parts, so it makes it a little bit easier for us. Just a discrepancy we had was just colors. We're also doing new tires, just going through the full drivetrain, making sure that the transmission is well. We did an oil change. We check out for metal shavings, make sure that the engine is in good health, compression test, leak down test, just so it can definitely have a good, clean bill of health before we put it to the test, which would be at Colorado doing the 8 to 1,000 mile rally. Cool thing about this car is super comfortable, so it definitely makes the experience a special one, to say the least. With this one, is also really, really cool. I'm actually a big fan of it because, like this one, it's a 904.6, so the 6-cylinder is always screamer. But this one already came in driving so well that it just made the servicing a whole lot better. It really didn't need a whole lot, but like these cars, it comes in for one thing and it ends up needing another thing. Never happens.
Never happens.
But that's pretty much what we've been doing here as of late.
Thank you, Mr. Lara.
Not a problem,
Appreciate
sir.
you. It's interesting. Obviously, the 904. These are two epic examples of the 904. These are two factory works cars. This car on the lift over here is actually 904 chassis 904 108, which is the last 904 ever produced by Porsche. It was specially made for Tour de France, the race Tour de France. And what's cool, kind of interrelated story, as some of you know, last year we showed chassis 78, 904 78, which happens to belong to the INGRAN collection. We did a very long restoration. Here's the Porsche Tour de France celebration poster of this car when it won with Robert Boucher and Herbert Linga right over here. They finished first in class and third overall. They only lost to two Ferrari GTOs, which is understandable today. But this is the factory celebration poster of that victory. And what's so special about this poster, when I was researching it about this car, that again, this car was built specially by Porsche, one of the few 906s in period built with the 901/20 engine. So it's the last 904 delivered with a 6-cylinder. And of course, Ferdinand Alexander Porsche designed the 904 to be built with this 6-cylinder, but because of production issues with the 904 and the need for those engines, they repurposed the 587/3 4-cam engine for the 904s. But again, getting back to this poster is a celebration of this victory, but the car on the poster is actually chassis 78. And driven by two drivers, this car was driven by the same guys, Andreas Vanini, an Argentine, Milan-born Argentine, but that's actually the car that we restored last year at Pebble that won the 12-hour Reims race in France. So just a really cool story of two cars. Porsche would oftentimes do celebration posters and use cars. This is not chassis 108, but it was from that same period, same year, similar drivers. So just a cool intertied story to that. Getting back to this car, so we have some of the distinguishing features of a 904.6 or 906. This is actually a chassis called a 906. They made 6 of these. These were all factory works cars. And you can always tell a factory built 904 that was delivered with the 6-cylinder because they have the bigger elephant ears here for the brakes, for the brake cooling. Also, the taller doors that have a pull-up window as well on the 904/6s. And the center fuel cap and the hood, another factory works detail that is so special on these cars. But it's really unusual to have these two very special works cars. This car was driven by Gerhard Mitter. He was a badass factory driver. He finished 9th overall at Nürburgring, a grueling race in period, and a big race where he finished 3rd at Solitude, which was a racetrack Solitude ring outside of Stuttgart. And you got to believe that Porsche always wanted to do well at their home track. But 2 very special cars that we're getting ready for our Peak to Peak event in Colorado. It's so great to work with customers that use these in the wild. They're again be driven 800 to 1,000 miles on public roads. Of course, these are licensed and all that good stuff. But we hope you've enjoyed this little tutorial this morning. We're going to try to do a better job of giving some storylines of some of the cool things happening in the shop. Thanks for watching.